Good morning, Canadian Yarn Hoard. My name's Alyssa. As you can see, that's Maya right there. She's up on the bed. I don't see anybody else there. Today we're going to make this cute little ornament ball. I'm going to put it a little bit closer to you so you can see. You can hang it on your tree. If you are new here, thank you very much for coming. I very much appreciate it. If you are a returning viewer, thank you very much for coming back. I very much appreciate that. I'll do a quick synopsis of my channel. Is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I do a quick daily update showing you some of the bigger projects I have working on in the background. Something that I can't do in an hour or two, takes sometimes a couple of months, stuff like that. So I do film them, but I like to show the progression. So something like a TikTok, I can be a little more accurate than TikTok, so you can have a general idea of how long some of these can take. On Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, I do a project video like this showing you how to make the project that I think you are capable of doing. And I think these will be really cute on your Christmas tree. I'm going to move you over. First, I have to say, I would love to earn your like and subscription. I would love to hear from you. Any question, comments, or concerns you have below. I love to hear from my viewers. Now I'm going to move you over to the overhead cam and we'll get started. So the yarn we're going to use here is, move that there. I'm going to use this Bernat Premium Yarnspirations. This is called Red Sparkle. It is a 93% acrylic and a 3% metallic. The one I used for the one I showed you is called Black Sparkle, and it is the same brand. So Bernat Premium. It is, like I said, a 97% acrylic with the 3% metallic. It is a recommended 4mm or a 4 medium yarn with a 5mm and a 5mm hook and needle recommended. The gray, we're just using a little bit of gray kicking around. It is a bundle up that I have. I think that's a polyester. So how we're going to start this ornament ball is I'm going to wrap around my finger and I'm going to pinch the two. We're going to pull your fingers out and you create the loop, and then you want to pinch where you have that loop. Inserting your hook, pinching the beginning of that stitch again, chaining two, and now you have the ability to make your single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now you're going to untangle that yarn, untwist it, tighten it as tight as you can, grabbing not those 2 loops, but the second 2 loops in the row. Tighten it up, do your slip stitch, which is just, so you have the 2 loops, you wrap your yarn around, you pull it through all loops. So you're going to chain 2 and you're going to increase, which means 2 single crochets in each stitch area. So you just do 1, 2, and then 1, 2, doubling the amount of stitches you have on. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, right here is a stitch, and most people call that a stitch, but this one here, most people will avoid. Because I want this flat or flattish with a little bit of a curl, like this guy has, just a little bit of an indent curl, I'm going to work in that spot. So now your next row is going to be 1 single crochet and then an increase. And you're going to do that all the way around. So 1 single crochet and then 2. And then 1 single crochet and then 2. And then 1 single crochet and 2. 1 single crochet and 2. 1 single crochet and 2. And then you're going to slip stitch the last one. Now this one is going to be 2 single crochet, so 1, 2, and then you're going to do 2 single crochet, increase in the next stitch. So right there. And then 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and then increase. And then 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and increase. And then 1, 2, increase, and 1, 2, increase, 1, 2, increase. Now you're going to do the last increase row, which will be 3 stitches and increase. Oh, chain 2, 1, 2, 3, increase, 1, 2, 3, increase. And normally I would get rid of that tail right away. I am going to tie it up in just a second when I'm done this row. 1, 2, 3. Actually, probably when I'm done the gray. 1, 2, and that's just because 1, 2, 3. I'm actually going to use my tails to stuff it. 1, 2, 3. Increase. 1, 2, 3. Increase. And then you're going to slip stitch, but you're not going to connect the two because that's your last red row. So I do suggest leave a fairly long tail. And you're done with the red then. So you've got your red done. Now you grab the gray and you're just going to do chain 2. Now you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, chain 2, turn, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then just leave a bit of a tail. Now I'm going to tie up this one because you do want to tie it up. You don't want to trim it, but you do want to tie it up. So you don't want it to come undone, and you actually want to give it a good pull, tightening it up, and then you're going to weave it through so it can't come undone on you. You definitely want to do that. Okay, so you just come through. I'm going to proceed to stuff it. Nope, those two are not on the right side. There they are. So I'm going to string the one thread and we're going to start sewing it together. Looks like it's that stitch. And then I'm just going to go through the 4 loops to stitch this up. Then you just want to sew up the 4 stitches together, going back and forth, stitching them all up. When you get a little more than halfway, we'll stuff it, because that way you shouldn't fight with the stuffing so much. If you wait till you get most of this sewn up together, it is a benefit to you to not be fighting with the pattern, with the project. I hate fighting with stuffing. It's not my favorite thing to do, but you got to do it when you want to stuff something. Tails, your leftover tails are a great thing to use for stuffing if you have a tight enough stitch count. So how you can barely see that there's one there. I'm going to push it in. I don't want to see any. You can just see some of them, not many. I could have actually gone down one more size in the hook to make this work, but I think it's all right. On the tree, you won't notice it too badly. I want that one out, and I want to make sure I tuck that guy in. So you just keep going around until you're almost back to the gray, because that'll be when you really can stuff it good. I'll have a fairly decent little hole to be able to get more stuffing in it. You can just as easily use polyfill. Polyfill is a great idea right now. I'm going to use my leftovers because I need to use some of them up. So I'm just going to start right here. I'm going to lock my stitch into place. And then I'm going to come out on the inside and just kind of bury that one. I still have this guy and I still have the gray. So now you just want to take, if you're doing what I'm doing, you just want to take any ends and you just start stuffing it. Making sure the two are out of the way. I'm going to grab more of my ends because I have lots of them. All kinds of products, and you just stuff. And then you're not going through expensive stuffing to do something that you're just going to put on your Christmas tree. Little kids and cats aren't going to break it. So it can be a little more of a stuffed with something that's not polyfill. If you're going to give it as a gift to someone, I might recommend that you stuff it with polyfill, but because I'm not, and you really want to stuff it so it's really, really full, so it's almost bursting. And that way, you know you're not understuffing it. Because a lot of people, apparently, I've heard many people comment that they'll get a deflating. I do not get the same deflating, but I've really overstuffed my projects. So I don't know if maybe I do stuff them too much, but I do know I like to make sure that I have enough stuffing in there so that it doesn't deflate. It doesn't look bad. So there's that bag was most of the way full, and this little bulb pretty much secured most of it. I've made 3 today, I think, and I pretty much used my whole bag. So it's a great way to use your ends if you know for a fact you're not going to see them, or if you wanted to use pantyhose, you could use some pantyhose. That'll keep them from seeing the inside. It's just a little trick I use when I do ends. If I'm going to give the gift away, if I'm keeping it for myself, I don't normally. And then I'm just going to tuck that one in, pull it out, and just kind of trim that here. Now, what you can do, what I did on this one, is I put a little loop, a little split ring that I got from Michael's. You get a big old pack of them. They're in the jewelry department. And as I've said on other videos, you can hook the ornament hooks to that little metal ring if you're worried about it breaking the thread. Now, I do have that loop, so you want to make sure you don't sew that loop in. But you want to go underneath because you don't want that opening back up. It's just a bit of a continuity here that I'm going for. And there you have it. Just gonna tighten through there, and then I will probably come back through after I grab a thread, and then I can tie it off, and I'm almost done. So now the last thing to do is to grab the little split ring, and you can do it with your fingers. Open up the split ring, put it on, and there you have it. If you wanted to give that to somebody for ornaments, you could. If you want to hang it on your tree, you can do that too. And you can just kind of squish them and roll them around until they get to the shape you really want them in. And there you have it. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope I get to see you again. Bye.